Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and expert in Warner Bros. Discovery. I've done more than 90 videos on Warner Bros. Discovery, and I've covered just about everything on them, about 90 videos over the last 3 months. There's an interesting rumor going around that Sandman Season 2 may have been canceled by Warner Bros. Discovery, or at least paused. We did a video talking about the subject based on this article just about a day ago. New streaming war brewing, Warner Bros. Discovery boss David Zaslav takes aim at Netflix over payment terms. The payment terms issue with regards to Sandman, the second season, and a few other series that Warner Bros. Discovery does do for Netflix under their television production division. The issue is this. Netflix is taking 18 to 24 months to pay for shows, so up to 2 years to get paid when they do a season. The problem with that is that Warner Bros. Discovery doesn't really like spending $15 million per episode and then waiting 2 years to get paid on it. Built into the $15 million that Sandman costs is, of course, a profit. But just the same, it is a lot of money to lay out for your competitor, especially for a DC branded content. So you have to kind of wonder, is this something that Zaslav is going to permit to go forward? Now, Neil Gaiman, who would know a lot about this subject more than I would, he's an executive producer on The Sandman. He has said Sandman Season 2 has been commissioned by Netflix and is real. Whatever behind the scenes wrangling and negotiating needed to happen to make this a reality has already occurred. He's announced this yesterday on December 10th. On December 9th, there's this article where Zaslav is saying, hey, he told his sales teams, pause selling finished shows to Netflix for a few weeks. This is as of December 9th, this article. Doesn't mean he told them that on the 9th, but he would have told them that within a couple of days because this article exists because an executive is complaining to Deadline and trying to embarrass Zaslav to get Zaslav to back off and let Netflix finance the shows any which way they want to. If we have to put out the money up front, being Warner Bros. Discovery, don't complain. It's interesting because, of course, Neil Gaiman would know better because he's an executive producer, but that's really a creative capacity. He's not the one that's negotiating with Warner Bros. Discovery. Very talented writer, but not a business guy. So when he says all the negotiating has occurred, and Netflix's season 2 of Sandman has already been commissioned by Netflix. Commissioning it doesn't mean that Warner Bros. Discovery is going to stop pausing the agreement to move forward on series. So this is speculative. It is interesting to me because I could kind of see Zaslav making a problem for Netflix, as well as making a problem for his executives that don't have the right attitude, which is there's new ownership of the company, there's new management of the company. We are not in business to finance our competitors. We're happy to produce for our competitors, but we're not in business to finance them. So the new deals need to be different. And when Netflix says, okay, sure, I'm willing to do a second season, it doesn't necessarily mean that Warner Bros. Discovery is going to accept the prior terms. Interestingly, at $15 million an episode, it's a lot of money, but literally every Marvel show that Disney does is $25 million an episode. That's expensive. You've got The Boys being done for $11 million an episode. $15 million an episode is expensive, relatively speaking, for Sandman, but of course, Marvel blows them out of the way by spending $25 million an episode, Moon Knight, WandaVision, no matter what it is. Back in August, Gaiman wasn't sure they were going to be renewing Sandman. This is an article from Forbes. Neil Gaiman says, The Sandman may get canceled before season 2, even topping Netflix's charts. And basically what Gaiman said here was, because Sandman is a really expensive show, and for Netflix to release the money to let us make another season, we have to perform incredibly well. So yes, we've been the top show in the world for the last 2 weeks, but it still may not be enough. And this is, again, Netflix releasing money. It's really Warner Bros. Discovery making the decision to release the money for Sandman. Deadline has a lot of scoops, and it's very interesting that they chose to put a picture of Sandman in this article because they didn't need to. Yes, it does illustrate this is some of the work that Zaslav's team is doing for Netflix, but why Sandman? And another thing is this correct that Neil Gaiman, executive producer on Sandman, is the one that's actually announcing that the season is moving forward and the deal has been done? It's not Netflix announcing it. It's not Warner Bros. Discovery announcing it. It's Neil Gaiman, who is, just an executive producer, which is a lower status than a producer, even though it has the name executive in it, who is not involved in the business dealings. It seems pretty strange to me he'd be making the announcement. Why would Netflix not be making the announcement? Why would the producer not being making the announcement? Or again, Warner Brothers Discovery saying, yeah, we've decided to release funding. It's not Netflix. We've decided to release funding so we can finance this show for Netflix. If the show doesn't go forward with Netflix, if the financing terms are not acceptable to Netflix that Zaslav wants, because again, it says right here that he paused selling finished shows to Netflix. He says for a few weeks. I don't even know how many a few exactly is. It's more than 2, probably in less than 6. It would be interesting to see like who's going to make the official announcement, because what Gaiman is saying here is clearly not any kind of official announcement. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Do you think Zaslav would interfere with this? Because it looks like he already has interfered with this. There's no official announcement. All we have is Neil Gaiman. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I will also say HBO Max might do it themselves. You know, if they're going to lay out the money, why not put it on their own platform? Or it could get picked up by Amazon Prime. It could get picked up any number of places because it's a popular show. But it does seem like it makes more sense at HBO Max. Now, here's another interesting story from Bounding Into Comics. James Cameron's kind of delusional, but maybe he's not. Maybe at the point that Marvel is declining, he'll be about right. He says here, James Cameron says, only reason Marvel Cinematic Universe is more popular than Avatar is that it has received more films. According to James Cameron, the only reason audiences are more likely to recall the name of every hero who appeared at the end of Infinity War than a single character in Avatar is solely because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has had more entries than the latter franchise. The eccentric director shared his opinion on the popularity disparity between Disney's long-running superhero franchise and his soon-to-be 2-entry, blue-skinned retelling of Pocahontas, during a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter given in promotion of his upcoming Avatar, The Way of Water. Asked by the outlet's senior film editor Rebecca Keegan for his thoughts on the audience's skepticism regarding his ambitious multi-sequel plans for Avatar, particularly in light of the aforementioned lack of an impression the original film made on audiences, the director admitted that while he's heard of the discourse, he hasn't really given it any weight. There's a skepticism in the marketplace around, oh, did it ever make any real cultural impact? Can anyone even remember the characters' names? Said Cameron. Quote, when you have extraordinary success, you come back within the next 3 years, he explained. That's just how the industry works. You come back to the well and you build that cultural impact over time. Marvel has had maybe 26 movies to build out a universe, with the characters cross-pollinating, he concluded. So it's an irrelevant argument. We'll see what happens after this film. While such bravado towards and confidence in Navi is typical of Cameron, despite his ironic belief that testosterone is a toxin, what makes his opinion particularly noteworthy is the insight it provides into Hollywood's view on what endears a given property to fans. In the eyes of an ever-increasing mechanical industry, they no longer care to craft strong stories, develop unique characters, or respond to fan sentiment. Instead, they believe that just by beating audiences over the head with a given character, the audience will eventually give in and accept the artificial narrative that they're incredibly popular, literally quantity over quality. And this isn't just a paranoid conspiracy theory extrapolated from the words of one director. Audiences have seen this philosophy put in place with increasingly tiring frequency over the past few years across entertainment, as seen in the aggressive marketing pushes behind characters such as Ironheart, actors like Simu Liu, or the idea, as seen most recently in DC's Dark Crisis Young Injustice miniseries, that any work made before 2022 is inherently bigoted. At the end of the day, audiences who don't consider key jangling to be the height of human culture don't care how frequently something is given attention, but rather what kind it is receiving. You know, I saw Indiana Jones, the original film, last night again, just on a television rerun I happened to be watching, and it was coming on. I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this. I watched the whole thing, commercials and all. Incredibly well written, super interesting, really well crafted. Who knows how original it was, because you've seen iterations of things they've done in the film, ever since it came out originally. Incredible movie. And then I also watched some of Thor: Love and Thunder, which was really a truly terrible movie. It's incredible that movie made as much money as it did, but it does come to make me think it's We're in a terrifying time that the attitude of Hollywood that they can just put out terrible movies and they'll make some money, and sometimes they'll make a lot of money and sometimes they'll lose a little bit, but that with an established built-in audience like Marvel has, they really can't lose money on movies. Even Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it may not break even theatrically, maybe it will. It doesn't matter if it breaks even theatrically though, because they're going to put it on their streaming service and they're going to do digital downloads of it and they're going to sell it on other platforms. They will make a substantial profit on Black Panther Wakanda Forever, even though the guy wasn't even in the movie. And perhaps that was some of the logic of why they did Black Panther Wakanda Forever, just to see what the heck they could get away with. And they've gotten away with a lot. But let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Do you think James Cameron is right? It's just a lot of content is enough to get a lot of people, not everyone, definitely not super fans, but a lot of people buying into their content, stuck with it, and maybe even actually believing it's good? Let me know. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel, click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.